Hello, today I'm going to be talking about the second week of the second packet of the Washoe County School District K through 2 grade distance learning plan. So we can start on page 47. This is very similar to last week. There is a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and there is an SEL optimistic opener, and there's a brain break, an SEL brain break. Okay, so here you notice there's only 4 bullets, so you could definitely pick another one of your child's favorite one, and do that one on one of these extra days. Okay, there are 5 here, and you could do one a day, or pick your child's favorite one and just do that on other days. Okay, again, a brain break is for when your child is working really hard and they just need to take a break to get refocused again. Okay, so the literacy reading standards, again, just like last week, it can be a nonfiction or a fiction book. It can be a book that is from your home. It could be books that are online. The Washoe County Library has an app called Libby that have books there. You can find them from magazines, newspapers, any kind of reading material is great. You are going to log all your reading onto page 67 of your packet. So for the literacy writing standards, this has to do with last week. We did an organizer on gravity. Okay, so this week you're going to be using that information and making a rough draft and a final draft of your writing. Okay, so it says step 1, you're going to use information from your organizer to write a rough draft. So you're going to be looking at your organizer, which is on the first week. That is going to be on page 25. And you are going to be writing a sentence about the topic, about your one sentence on one fact, one sentence on another fact, and one sentence on the last fact. And then you're going to write a concluding sentence. So it's a total of 5 sentences. And again, we strongly suggest that your child is writing their own papers just because they're missing so much from school. So if you get a loose leaf piece of paper, this topic sentence is going to be the first sentence. This fact here, I said that this is from the article on the other page. This comes straight from that. It says gravity pulls towards things. More gravity with bigger objects. Okay, you can see my elephant and my mouse. And then gravity keeps us on Earth. Okay, so this would be a sentence. This would be a sentence, this would be one, and this would be one, and then there would be a concluding sentence. Okay, that would be a rough draft. So whatever your child is doing here, they're going to do here and make sure that's complete sentences. Okay, that's going to be step 1. And then if you notice, it says to look at the information mentor text here. That is on this page. This is pretty lengthy for a kindergartner, so this has way more sentences than just 5. So just stick with the 5 sentences for now. If they want to read about something else and write about something else on their own time, that'd be great. But just stick with 5 now, okay? So that will be, that's an example of one, but just do the 5. Okay, so they're going, after they write down their rough draft on their piece of paper, they're going to be reading it over with the check sheet or the checklist. That is going to be on page 68. So after they're done reading and writing, they're going to go through this check sheet. And they're going to make sure they have all these elements in the writing. Okay, once they've checked off all of them and they have all of these, then they're going to take another piece of paper and they're going to write their final draft. Okay. That is going to be step 3. So they're going to rewrite their whole thing on another piece of paper. Step 4 is to share your work with somebody at home. It could be a family member or a friend. Even better, your child's teacher would love to hear that or to see it over Zoom. anything like that, they would just love to hear that. Okay, so that is for writing. For literacy grammar practice, there are 3 pages that your child's going to do, and they look like this. There's complete sentence page, and you'll notice that it says kindergarten up there. That's how you know which ones to do. There's an ending punctuation page, and then there's question words page. You're going to be doing all that. There's 3 pages, so you can do 1 a day for 3 days. And it also says to go to starfall.com. You can definitely do that. I know your child's teacher with the March homework gave a page full of kindergarten apps. If you've lost it or misplaced it or whatever, ask your teacher for another paper. They'll email it to you or send it to you somehow. But those are full of apps that your child can play as well. Okay, so that's for that. And let's head to math. Math is going to be the same exact thing as last week with the show what you know. That's going to be recorded on page 76 and through 80. Okay, so math tactile board, the same thing. They're going to have a game, an activity, and a word problem to do from the grade level. And by the end of the week, the goal is to have 4 in a row, vertical, horizontal, or diagonal. You can definitely get a blackout if you would like. Okay, so the game portion of it, you can play high roller. That's going to be linked below, but also we played it in the first packet. And then I Spy 3-dimensional shapes. It's pretty self-explanatory here, but you're going to be looking around the room for 3-dimensional shapes and giving hints about what they are and what they look like without giving it away. Okay. Notice that there are only 2 games here, and if you're playing blackout, there's 4 spots. So you're going to have to either play these again or do some games from the previous weeks to fill in those to check those game things off of the math tactile board. Okay, this is new. This is going to be called Riddle Me This. These are going to be riddles that your child's going to have to guess. So again, there's only 2 here. And if you're playing blackout, then you're going to have to add 2 more questions there. Okay. So for an example, this one says, I have 1 group of 10 and 3 ones. Who am I? So you're going to have your child guess what a group of 10 is, and then plus 3 ones. Okay. And then they tell you what it is, and you can mark it off. And same thing with this one. Okay. That we have another one for problems of the week. Down here we have the kinder one, and there's one on this page, and then there's one on the next page here. Okay, so again, there's 2. So if you're doing blackout, you're going to have to think of 2 more to explain to your child and have them guess it. Okay. We do have a number activity for the last part of the math tactile. We have pages 81, 84, and 89. Page 81 has the number 15 on it, and all it's asking is to show different ways to make 15. That's going to be one way, one activity for math tactile. Page 84 has some. Let me show you here. Has something similar to last week. Okay, but you're just seeing having your child tell you why A doesn't belong, why B doesn't belong, and C and D doesn't belong in this whole thing. Okay, we do have an answer key here today, but they are more than welcome to think outside of the box and tell you different reasons. Okay, here's the one for number 15. Okay, it says how many ways can you show 15, and then they can write a story problem. Here is some hints on what they could say. And then this was an example. I think this was supposed to be on week 1's thing. They gave you that's supposed to be for week 1's answers, but you can definitely check your answers from last week. Okay, so that will be those activities there. We have high roller. Again, that's going to be linked below, but here's the directions. And then here's another independent sheet where they're just going to be writing the numbers 1 through 12. If you would like, you could just cross this out and have them write as many as they can all the way to the highest number here. Okay. Let's go back to the math part here. Okay, so this is what the game board again looks like for Math-Tacto. Just again, from last week, I just used one game board for the whole week because it was easier to just keep track on one game board. So if I played 4 games, I would mark down all the games that I played. If I'm doing blackout, if I'm strategically trying to win 4 in a row, then just do diagonal, vertical, or horizontal. Okay. This is an example of what your child could write in this portion here. If you played the game I Spy with them, they can just write down what they were looking for, what the name of the object was, or what the shape of the object was, and then what the name of it was. And they just wrote down, I just wrote down a couple of them. Okay, so it doesn't have to be anything lengthy. It could just be that kind of stuff. You're going to do that for day 2 and 3, 4, 5, just different things that you're doing, whether it be a game or a problem of the week or the independent practice or a riddle. Okay, so that's going to be for math. Again, there's always those extensions on this website here for the activity of the day. Okay, for science, it's talking about spring, so you guys are going to go on a nature walk and pick out a plant and kind of discuss what you're just going to discuss what the plant is like, the different parts. What do you think might help it survive? Things like that. So you notice that there's 3 bullets here, and so you could do 1 per day. Okay. Last week I did talk about a science journal. If you're still interested in that, you can definitely put that sentence stem in here and have them write this down and fill in their own answers. Okay. And social studies, again, you can do that in your journal or have your child do that in their journal. And you're just going to draw a map of their neighborhood, or they're going to draw a map of their neighborhood and why these places in their neighborhood are important. Okay. That could be a sentence stem here that they can write in their journal as well. Okay, we have our cool down, which we talked about last week. You could choose one at the end of each day to kind of like hone in what they were doing that for that day. There's 5 of them, so you could pick one a day, or do the favorite, do your child's favorite one more than on one day. And then we're getting close to the end here. We're still playing music tic-tac-toe on page 117. You can continue on with that. Again, Mr. Benson has his music channel on YouTube, so I highly suggest watching that because there's lessons on there. And that will be linked below. So let's go to number 117. And this is what it kind of looked like for me last week. Okay, I did these 5 because there's 16 total. And if I do 1 a day, that leaves 1 extra space for one. I can double up. Okay. All right. I had to draw an instrument, so I just drew it here on a Post-it. Things like that. So if I'm going for blackout, I'm going to try to go for all of these. But if you're doing Connect 4, then just strategically pick the 4 that you want so you can have that blackout. Okay. So that is going to be the conclusion of week 2. We do have the Spanish versions for the directions starting on page 57. Okay, again, if you have any questions, please email your teacher, text them. They are available to you 8:30 to 3. They would love to hear from you. Okay, I hope you have a great day. Bye.